The Speakers Bank Podcast. Our voices, our views. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Speakers Bank Podcast. I'm your host Nathan and we're joined today by Storm.
Hello everybody on this chilly day, nice to be here.
It's absolutely freezing, but it is nice to be here. And Catherine.
Hi everybody, it's great to be back.
And today we'll be discussing education and the, I suppose the effects that it has on people with disabilities and parents as well, who struggle finding information and struggle, with getting into the education system. So I suppose we're gonna start today by sharing, I suppose, with the audience our educational backgrounds, what we've studied in terms of courses and qualifications, and even if we're currently studying. So I suppose I'll open up the floor to you guys to talk a bit about what you're studying.
I'll go first. When I started, my parents wanted me to do mainstream schooling, but as we know, people with disabilities back then, they always wanted to group us in special schooling. So it was very, very a difficult conversation because my parents didn't want me to be any lower or any like dumber than the average person. They wanted me just to be normal as possible. So I did primary school. I went from grade 1 to grade 6, and I did that quite well with an integration aid. If I didn't have the integration aid, I probably wouldn't be able to complete my schooling due to the fact that back then, I don't know what it is now, but back then it was a very, very fast-paced type learning, and the integration aid would help me simplify it to keep it as a normal as possible routine, to keep it on my level but still keep it at their standard. And the challenge of going into primary school was to keep it at the same level as the other kids did. For example, if I had an assignment, sometimes I would only have 3 days to do it, but because of my disability, they allowed me to have 4 days to do it. So they didn't disadvantage me in most of my subjects, but in maths in particular, I felt like I was disadvantaged because my maths wasn't that good, but I didn't understand, because I don't have the ability like a lot of people to see numbers in my head. So the teacher got really impatient with that, and they didn't think that I was good enough to do maths, but they had to come up with another technique to do my maths. So what I did was I had different colours, and these different colours would represent numbers in my head, because I could see colours but I couldn't see numbers.
Yeah. So are you currently studying, or have you studied anything else since high school?
I have done an advanced diploma in community development because I classify myself as a very good public speaker, so I wanted to pursue that. I wanted to also improve my public speaking skills, and that's the reason why I did my advanced diploma, because I wanted to get my message out in the community, but at the same time help the community with different issues. For example, people were bullying each other because one side was the able body and the other side had the disability side.
Yeah.
So for me, I could go in between.
Yeah.
And be like a negotiator type thing.
Could almost be like a bit of a transformer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what about you, Catherine? What's your education background like?
Well, I went through mainstream from kinder up to year 10, and from prep to year 10 I had the same integration aid, and she was really good. I did a program towards my mainstream classmates. So with my maths, I would go shopping. I got to take 2 friends. Sometimes, go shopping, work out maths, to as my like counting money and all that kind of stuff. So I used to go and make lunches for the teachers and then work, and that's how so that was good. I did primary school wasn't I did mainly the same stuff as what everybody else did, but when I got to high school, I did a different program towards my mainstream mates, whatever, and yeah.
Did any of you guys did a thing called VCAL?
No.
I did VCAL.
I had to leave really high, which I loved
Yeah.
going there because I was with friends since primary school with a few of them. Anyway, so the principal that was running the high school stopped VCAL just in time as I went into year 11.
Oh, that's
So
bad luck.
I didn't have the choice but to leave. And the equivalent of a uni is where I was bullied, so that was a very traumatic experience.
Ooh.
But these days it's gotten better because there is VCAL at every high school now.
Yeah, because I remember back in my high school days, I couldn't cope with the amount of pressures from year 10 to year 12. So I decided to do VCAL because I didn't want to have the stress of my disability, my personal health, and then my learning health. And I didn't feel like the justification of having a year 12 qualification at the same level could help me get a job, because at the end of the day, if you can do TAFE, you'll be able to get a job anyway eventually.
Yes.
So there was no point putting the strain of those 3 years into it.
See, I suppose I'm very lucky in the sense that I'm now studying a diploma in leadership, but under the VET and the higher ed system, so when you go for VET fee help or any of the loan schemes, you actually either have to sit a test or you virtually have to have a BCE certificate. So I'm really glad that I went with my gut and did BCE. Because I remember even saying to the teachers, like I must admit, if you're watching, don't do this, but I basically just wanted to pass, so I didn't try all that hard. Because I just wanted the certificate to say I've passed.
Yep.
Didn't want a massively high score, and I'm really glad I did it, because now whenever I want to apply for vet fee help, I just literally scan a certificate and I don't have to sit the test.
I think the only problem with the vet fee help is that you've got to pay a certain money back, and you're never going to be able to pay that money back, and that's part of the
You
problem.
don't have to pay it back unless you're earning about $50,000 or more per year.
Okay.
But there is a 20% loading fee on top of that. So, Catherine, getting back to what we were discussing, since I suppose high school, have you studied anything else?
I went through job agencies. So the first job agency, they got me into Lady Gary, which is a childcare centre, and they run courses, to get into that role, because I absolutely adore children, and so I've always wanted to work in childcare. So I got through to them. So I did lots of appointments with them. They helped me with my resume, but helped me get work. I didn't get to practice my interviews. So that was just a bit unfortunate. Anyway, so I did my Cert 3 with them. That's what, with WCIG.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't work out. So, but I did all my placements through childcares, and so I've been in childcares for a couple of years, unemployed, just work experience. But unfortunately, I didn't get work. Saying that is because they want people. Oh no, because they need people that can do the planning. So they have planning, which unfortunately with me, I can't do that kind of role as planning with my disability.
Yeah, so in other words, most employers want people with multiple skill sets rather than just one area.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
but that's alright. I enjoy, done that, but yeah, I got assessed in that, but I just thought. But now I'm just doing, I do private babysitting for my neighbours, which I absolutely love doing.
Yeah.
And yeah.
just a question for the group. Does any of you guys feel like the extra qualification has helped you in terms of your TAFE qualification or any other education you've done after high school or school?
I must admit personally, I don't know about you guys, but I can't answer that because I'm still in the middle of my diploma, so I won't graduate till at least the middle of next year. And then hopefully after that I'll do a radio course with RTI.
Right.
So what are you saying about the certificates?
Well, for me, I've actually done the certificates,
Yep.
and yes, it's helped me learn a lot of stuff, but
Yeah.
it hasn't helped me in terms of money.
No.
And everyone needs money to live, and I feel like I've got the natural skill set to do this type of community work, public speaking and stuff. But if it wasn't for Speakers Bank, I wouldn't be in a job. So
Yep.
I think it's up to employees to give people with disabilities a go.
Yes, that's
if
right.
they've got the right skill set
Yeah.
Yeah.
to do that
Because-
type of work.
I know there's some places that don't have patience for people with disabilities.
Yeah.
It's why it's hard for us to get a job
Yeah.
out there in the mainstream. Because I suppose I done all my certificates, but just not getting the work.
Agree.
Well, speaking of all that, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about the education system and our various limitations within that area. And now we're back, and we're going to be talking a bit more about physical access limits, provision of support services, and selection of schools prepared to provide full access to the curriculum. Based on our research, these are some of the common issues for people with disabilities accessing education. So, Storm, I want to start with you first of all. Could you take me back to your
Maths
trouble within the
problem?
curriculum, your math problem?
Yep.
Yes.
Well, what happened was the teacher wouldn't give me a lot of time to do my answers, and it'd be like a really slow process, and I just felt frustrated and annoyed that the teachers would always give me lower ranked maths compared to the other people. For example, I'll give you an example. When I was in grade 3, I would have like level 3 maths, and other people would have level 4 maths, and so on and so on. So that was really frustrating because I felt like with a bit more tutoring by the school, I could get to that level. But I knew I was never going to be good at maths. It was just a problem of connecting the dots. And when it came to maths, my brain just couldn't connect the dots together. And I just felt really frustrated because I could see the problem and I could have an idea, but it could never connect it. And that's where the integration aid helped me. But I didn't feel like I was doing most of the maths work. I felt like the integration aid was doing more than what the job required him to do. So yeah, that was my frustration. But apart from that, all the other subjects were quite good, except for, and I will say, except for physical education, which is sports recreation, because some of the activities, they didn't modify it for disability purposes. For example, I wanted to be in a football match with the class, and they didn't put a spot in for me to do it. Like, I could be goal umpire. Yeah, I can't kick a football, but I could still be goal umpire, and I could contribute to the game itself. So that was
I'm guessing if they played a game of cricket, you'd have to stand there and field.
exactly, and I wouldn't be able to bat. But the thing is, with batting, all you got to do is just throw the ball at me, and I could try to hit it. You know, it doesn't have to be textbook batting. So yeah, that was the most frustrating part.
So what about you, Catherine? How was your access to the curriculum how did you find the workload?
There's hard and there's easy, whatever. So, for instance, writing off the board. So the teachers write a whole thing off the board, and we have to like copy whatever.
Yep.
or do things, like she'll give an example.
Oh,
And then you say this, and then the teacher will say, okay, you got 1 more minute left, guys. Blah 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 blah. And I'm still writing. I still got ages because the way my brain processes is not like the mainstream. So I need a bit more time.
Yep. And did they end up making those time allowances for you?
Well, I had an integration aid, so I would have my workbook in me doing what I'm doing, but she would be also doing it as well. So once everybody's done, I could keep going.
Okay, but wouldn't it be easier for the integration aid to write it down for you, and then
That's what she's doing. Yeah, she's
after,
doing,
and then you just sit there and then you listen, because that's what they did at TAFE, and it was a lot easier for me.
so I'm good at verbal.
Yep.
So when people ask me a question, I can answer it verbally, but writing it isn't so easy.
Yeah, it's
and-
translating it from here to
Reading out questions and then answering it isn't easy. If someone read it out to me, then I will process it quicker. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I must admit, I found that when I had real trouble with writing, my integration aid would copy everything, the board notes down in pen. This is going back grade 1 and 2, and then I'd trace over all the writing to try and get the motion into my hands.
For instance, me with the intellectual learning, the theory side of things is a challenge.
Yeah.
Without assistance. It'll be impossible if I didn't have assistance.
So, in saying that, what is everyone's way of learning? What's their preferred way of learning? Mine is a visual type learning. I like to see things and do hands-on. Other people could be drawings.
Mine is more, if you were explaining something to me,
Yep.
like a direction, you do this, or how to do something, then I'll probably say I still don't get it, And so if people didn't know me, and they'll probably say what? They'll probably think I didn't listen.
Okay.
And but with me, so what'll happen is, so I'm not getting the information. I'm not processing the information. So someone will have to actually show me or demonstrate, and so okay, I get what you mean now. And yeah, so.
So, did either of you guys experience limits when your parents, when it came to picking a school or a place to study at? Did you guys experience any physical access limits or any limit to provision of support services?
Well, from what my mum told me, it wasn't a very good experience for my parents because they wanted me to go straight to a special school. Just didn't even think about it. And it wasn't for my dad and my mum pushing me to go to mainstream school. I would probably be, at a special school, and that's something I didn't want to do. Because my family is a big believer in good learning is good learning only if it's the required learning that everyone else is supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Not because you take your disability as an advantage. If you have the ability to do it, then all by means learn, because that's how we get better in life. We learn things.
So, Catherine, in your studies, did you experience a lack of support services as well?
I had an integration aid all through, that was good. But when I was in the junior campus, she went on long-term stay for about 5 weeks or something. So that was good. So I chose who I wanted, so I got to have her. And we did, she followed through what I was doing my integration program. And then when I went into year 10, it was different because the principal, my integration aide went on long service leave again. But the principal wanted to do a panel to look for another aide. And so I was disappointed, and so was Mum, because she didn't see why we needed to do a panel. Because I already chosen who I wanted, is the person I had before. And I would have had her straight away had the principal and done the panel. So the panel went ahead, but I was left with no aid for 2 weeks.
Jeez.
I had no support. It was not only pressure on me, but the teachers.
You would have been pretty, like, not say, what's the word, disadvantaged by the assessments and all that sort of stuff. You would have been pretty far behind.
I
All
was
that.
I was stressed. I
Mm.
was like, I can't do it. I need help. But anyway, so I came back from the occasional care where I was volunteering. I go back to school at lunchtime, and I felt like I was thinking, what's going to happen? When am I going to get help? When am I going to get help? And so I went up to a lady that was a parent at primary school, so she knew me all the time, you know. And I said to her, "Can I talk to you?" I said, "Yeah." And I was like, when am I getting an integration aid? And said, we're still looking. I'm like, I need one now because I'm struggling. Anyway, I was nearly in tears.
Mm.
And then I went to my locker, put my bag in the locker, whatever. And I saw one of the U12 guys who I went to primary school with, so we're 2 years apart. He was great. He said, "How you going, Catherine?" I'm like, yeah, I'm stressed. I'm and blah 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 blah. And anyway, instead of going into detail, I felt like the tears were going to roll down my eyes. And then he said to me, "How about I speak to your maths teacher and I could stay back and help you?" And I was like, yes.
The world's lifted off your shoulders.
Yeah. I was very grateful. So yeah, that's my bad experience of not getting the support I needed.
Any good experiences, Catherine, that you've had?
I had a great music program. That's when I started. When I was in year 7, I started violin. And I got good at it straight away. I got into the accelerated program. This was all practice. I didn't do much of the theory because there was really no point. So the teacher was pretty good to me that I didn't really have to. I did things I enjoy. Like I got to do it more verbally to answer questions because that's just how I learned.
Yep.
Better than actually doing the theory part of things. So I've always had the music in me. I love doing this, that, whatever. So I did violin lessons and But when I got into the senior campus, I was studying for my first exam, the preliminary violin exam. And so I got to be with a friend who plays piano. So she supported me by accompanying me to get ready for my exam. So when I go to music class, I'm looking forward to actually doing that. So that was a strength that I would always keep, is my music. So that was a good experience for me.
No, that's cool. So we're going to get to the fun bit of the episode, and this is my personal favourite, where we get to talk about our favourite teachers. Those teachers that really impacted our lives.
Well, for me, it's going to sound funny, but my integration aide, because he was my best friend, because he knew my strengths, he knew my weaknesses, and we had a lot in common. We had football to talk about every Monday when our teams lost or team won. We joked, we laughed, we cried, and all that sort of stuff. And he was just a really good mate and a person like a father figure. So if you had problems at home or you need someone to talk to about personal issues, he'd be there for you. He wasn't just a school person that you can talk to. He was a friend.
Yeah, and it's always good when you have a teacher like that. I had a teacher like that called Mr. H, and he was just great. Like, you know, to the point where, you know, you could, like with you, you know, you could just discuss anything. You could laugh, you cried, you know, have a sick sense of humour. Well, with that, we're gonna end this podcast.
Take care, everybody.
Bye bye,
Bye.
and we'll see you next time.